Welcome to Valuable Physical Education today with our guest, Miss Angela McNamara. Welcome to Valuable Coaching. Today we're starting a new series called really a Valuable Physical Education. We're looking at PE, health, wellness, and just kind of exploring that space right now. Today we have with us a great physical education teacher, Miss Angela McNamara. I have the pleasure of working with her at the school I teach at, but we'd love for her to just give a quick intro, kind of a little bit about where you went to school, what grades you've taught so far, how many years you've taught, and then maybe just a quick, why PE, and how did you go that route when it comes to health, fitness, wellness, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad to be here. I have been I've been teaching. This is my 11th year that we're in right now. Yeah. So I've been working with Miles at our charter school for this is year 2. Previously, I taught at a K through 8 private school for about 8 years, and I did work a little bit in a middle school right after graduation. So I graduated back in 06. I went to school actually in the Chicago area. So I went to Northern Illinois. And I'm actually really grateful for my time there. Illinois actually is one of the very few states that mandates daily PE from K all the way through 12. So there was definitely a lot of funding, a lot more resources put toward our programs, a lot more respect around it. There's a lot of research done in like a lot of local schools around where I did my program. So I definitely think I got to mentor with a lot of really great people. So really grateful for that. And I did, so I worked at a middle school out there right after graduation. And then life brought me here to San Diego. And I naively thought I could easily get a job. But as we know, there aren't quite as many PE jobs here in California. So I actually worked in corporate wellness for a little bit and did some personal training. I kind of took a break from all that, but I always missed teaching. So I was really glad to get back into it. When I worked in my K through 8 school. So
that's great. I think you brought up a good point that Illinois does have K through 12 mandated PE every day. Obviously you just kind of said that it makes a big difference in how it's treated and funded and looked at. Do you think there's some things that California should look to, maybe other states like Illinois, that they could follow and do?
I noticed a huge difference. Really overall in the school system, but the buildings I was in, especially, even the elementary buildings I was in, they just had, oftentimes there would be 2 PE teachers there to cover because they needed to get those kids, every single day. They had beautiful facilities, and you could tell the difference, like the kids were more fit, and I think that the overall climate of the schools were, you just kind of tell a difference. And definitely in the middle and high schools that I saw out there, the facilities were very nice, a lot of options, really nice, like fitness centers, gyms, that sort of thing. So anyway, I definitely, obviously, would love to see our school system adopt, a better PE program. I know in so many, my kids' elementary school, they don't have a PE teacher, and their classroom teacher has to try to fit it in. And I don't blame her. She doesn't have time to plan, and they, end up just doing free play or whatever. So, I would love to see them be able to do that. We know that it helps them learn. We know it helps their brains. Like, obviously, it would benefit them. So,
yeah. Yeah, well, Coach, thank you so much for being on and being our first guest for physical education teachers. I noticed you mentioned that you're from Illinois and you went to college out there. For our viewers that are going to be PE teachers and are college students currently and going down this path, I'm curious, what specific degree did you get in that relates to physical education? And coming from Illinois, did that degree or that certification just transition really smoothly to California? for you?
Yeah. So my degree's in kinesiology, and I did the option. They kind of wrapped up my credential program right into so I was able to do it all in 4 years. And yeah, when I moved, I was able to move my credential very easily, just a matter of some paperwork and whatnot. There were some extra courses or exams that I needed to take here on the other side in California. But for the most part, super simple. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. We've been talking so far a little bit of just about kind of the value placed on PE. I'd be curious just to know how important you think PE is. I know here in California, again, for a long time, the whole time I've been teaching now, 14 years, really most of the push has been, math, science, language arts. Those are the ones that get tested. And then obviously history, and then PE kind of takes a little bit of a back seat to that. So do you think that we need to try and elevate PE, and at least as PE teachers at our own schools, try and push it so that it feels like it's on the same level as the rest of those subjects? Or, are you okay with it kind of being, a little bit of a second fiddle to some of those other things?
That's a good question. I mean, I've been in there. I think it depends on the school and maybe the culture in your school, because I have been in schools where, PE has been valued just as much as everything else. I mean, we know that when kids are moving and doing aerobic exercise, they're building the pathways in their brains, and they're primed and ready to learn. And so, I mean, I think obviously, I think that it's important. And I think that for the most part here, from what I've seen in our area, obviously we are not exactly funded, and, we're often the kind of the last thought. And I think that maybe sometimes people forget how important that is. And they do. I absolutely think we should place importance on, math, writing, all that. But I think that we forget that if we just pulled those kids out for like a quick 20 minutes, they would probably perform so much better in the classroom once they got back in there. So just my thoughts on it.
Yeah, speaking of philosophies, and of course, there's no right or wrong. And obviously, with this, you probably have to scan your environment and talk to your boss and see what they would like or what's appropriate for the school. But I've always found it interesting as a physical education teacher, when you divide up the teams and you're doing units, what's your philosophy on having co-ed teams, or having all boy teams, or having all girl teams? And again, no right or wrong, just wanted to get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, totally. I have always been I've always leaned more towards get everyone together, co-ed teams. We all live in the world together. We all have to figure it out. Obviously I'm a female, so and I have personal experience. As a girl, I was that girl that would try to get out there and, play flag football with the boys and try to keep up with them. And I would, I wouldn't get past you as much. Obviously, it was something for me to overcome, and I learned how to be assertive, and I learned how to, stand up for myself. So, I think there's a time and a place. I think sometimes it's fun to separate by gender, and, Miles and I, we've done that before. And I think it kind of sets a different climate. And I guess I understand, depending on maybe the age group, it might be more important. But yeah, I think it's fun to change it up. And sometimes I think we assume, maybe we're going to split up because we want to have a hard game and an easy game, And so instead of saying like boy and girl game, sometimes I would say like maybe a beginner game and an advanced game, or a slower pace game and a fast game. And oftentimes I'll have boys and girls, choose both. I'll have boys come to the slower pace side and girls go to the, more advanced side. And I think it's good. I think it's good for them to be able to choose maybe. But yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of philosophy, I mean, what order do you kind of place value on in terms of fitness versus, team and individual sports versus maybe doing, health topics? How if you were to be able to create your perfect, philosophy surrounding all the different parts of physical education, what would that look like?
Well, look, I love team sports. I'm going to just say that up front. I love sports. And I think that team sports is really important. There's so much there under the surface too, just outside of like the skills and strategies and everything else. There's all the other lessons that we learn around teamwork and all of that. But I think, and I always like to tell people, I'm probably like the least traditional PE teacher. Like I was not a college athlete. In fact, I was not like, I wouldn't consider myself a very gifted athlete as a kid. I loved playing sports, but it was really hard for me. I wasn't like super naturally coordinated. And I remember not really enjoying PE in elementary school. But then when I got into middle and high school, I had these really amazing PE teachers that they were just great mentors. And I think another piece of it that I really loved was that we got to do things outside of the typical team sports that I did in elementary school. So, I gravitated more toward the swimming unit and the gymnastics unit. And I had a teacher who taught me how to run long distance. And so all these other kind of maybe more fitness related activities or alternative activities were really an interest to me. So I've always kind of had the philosophy of like, I want to reach the kids who maybe aren't like the traditional gifted athletes and really inspire them to find what sorts of things they enjoy doing. Because, at the end of the day, I just want them to learn to appreciate movement and to find something that brings them joy and to, want to be healthy. So, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. This has been a great first episode of Valuable Physical Education. We really want to thank Coach Miss Angela McNamara from College Prep Middle School for coming on with us. And we want to let you know that she'll be back tomorrow to discuss how she likes to do her classroom management and also how she likes to develop units and lessons going forward. So again, this will be a 5-part series we'll be going throughout the week with Miss McNamara, and we'll have future episodes like this as well. So we're really excited. We think this is going to be a very valuable tool for physical education teachers out there and for administrators to look at. So again, we want to thank Miss McNamara again, and we look forward to having you guys come back tomorrow and learn a little bit more about her classroom management and her units and lessons that she likes to do. There's some great information in there tomorrow. And we want to thank our sponsor, One Stone Apparel. They do great physical education clothes. Made us this great polo for valuable coaching, and they do awesome vocabulary tees, perfect for physical education. They got great words on the back. You can customize them. Great artwork, easy to work with. Dave at One Stone Apparel. Check them out, onestoneapparel.com.